Do you guys remember all the way back in September when I was doing my weekly top 25 videos and I was including Arizona State inside my top 25? Well, at the time, there were a lot of people in the comment section saying that Arizona State, well, they don't deserve to be inside the top 25 despite it being only September. Well, back then, I was saying that this Sun Devil team was different and they are a really good team. Well, fast forward a couple of months and look who was right about that. Arizona State just dominated Iowa State, winning the Big 12 championship, securing a spot in the college football playoff. Now, with Arizona State, we don't know exactly what seed they're going to be as of right now. There are still a number of games that need to be played, and we'll have all of our answers after tonight. But I don't even care what the rest of the outcomes are for tonight's games. After what we saw today, and after what we've seen all season long, Arizona State is deserving of getting a first-round bye. But before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Now, before we get to the scenarios and how Arizona State should get a first round bye, let's quickly talk about today's Big 12 championship. Now, entering this game, I was a little bit worried because I thought Iowa State was a damn good team and they were going to give the Devils a lot of problems, especially considering the Sun Devils were without their leading wide receiver, Jordan Tyson, who's been one of the best wide receivers in all of college football this season. They won this game 45-19, and honestly, it should have been by even more, but Arizona State pulled all their starters out of the game, and Iowa State had a couple scoring drives late when they kept all of their starters in. But this was a dominant effort from the Sun Devils, and they looked like one of the best teams on both sides of the ball. We'll start at the top with running back Cam Skattebo, who should be in New York next week as a Heisman finalist. He ran for 170 yards and had 2 rushing touchdowns, while also having 40 yards through the air with the receiving score. He's been one of the best running backs in all of college football this season. Now, obviously, I'm not saying he should win, but he definitely needs to be a finalist because Cam Skattebo was, in my opinion, the second best running back in all of college football this season. And Arizona State is definitely not in this position without him. Freshman quarterback Sam Leavitt continues to prove that he's the real deal as well. He threw for 220 yards with 3 passing touchdowns while completing only 12 passes. He also added over 30 yards on the ground with a rushing score as well. Meanwhile, Iowa State had one of the best defenses in the Big 12 and one of the better scoring defenses in all of college football this season, and they just let Arizona State drop 45 points on them. Had ASU not pulled their starters, this thing definitely would have gotten above 50. Alright, enough about this game though, let's get to the scenarios and how Arizona State could and should get a first round bye. Now, there are 2 outcomes here, and we're going to start with the first one. Now, if Clemson were to beat SMU tonight, that's probably going to get Arizona State into the playoff as the number 4 seed. In that scenario, you would have the Big 10 champion, the SEC champion, and Boise State. Now, I am a little bit hesitant to give Arizona State the edge in this scenario just because Clemson is ranked only 2 spots behind the Sun Devils. Now, ASU dominated number 16 Iowa State, so that should be enough to keep them ranked above Clemson. But if the Tigers come out tonight and let's say they beat SMU by 30 or 40 points, I wouldn't be surprised if the playoff committee jumps Clemson over Arizona State and the Tigers would get that 4th and final playoff bye. Now, it shouldn't happen, especially because Clemson has 3 losses, but knowing the playoff committee and knowing Clemson's name brand compared to Arizona State, I just wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But as of right now, I still think it's possible that Arizona State gets that 4th and final bid, but I'm not going to put anything out of the equation. Now, that is one scenario, and that's a scenario that definitely could happen considering Clemson is only a 3-point underdog. Now, if SMU were to beat Clemson, that's where things could get very, very interesting. In that scenario, you'd obviously have the SEC champion and the Big 10 champion, and SMU would be securing an automatic bid as well. Now, in this scenario, a lot of people are assuming that Boise State would get the 4th and the final bye, and Arizona State, they'd be left out and they would get the 12th and the final seed. Now, I think that would be absolutely insane. Arizona State, after what we saw today and after what we've seen over the last month, they deserve to be ranked above Boise State at this point. Now, if you look at records, obviously Boise State has the edge. They're 12-1 compared to Arizona State, who is 11-2. Boise State loss also looks a lot better considering they lost to Oregon by 3 on the road, whereas Arizona State's 2 losses came to Texas Tech and Cincinnati. The Cincinnati loss though, I really want to wipe this one out. They didn't have Sam Leavitt in that game. They were having to play their backup quarterback. If Sam Leavitt would have played that game against Cincinnati, I'm fairly confident that Sun Devils are winning, and they're probably ranked inside the top 10 as of right now. Now, obviously, we can't go back and change it. They played the game. game, they lost. Losing to Cincinnati isn't a good look, but we do have to take into account they were without Sam Leavitt in that game. Now, when comparing the two resumes, I don't think there is a runaway favorite, but how can you not look at Arizona State's schedule and say they didn't play a significantly tougher schedule than Boise State did? I mean, right off the bat, you have a top 16 victory over an Iowa State team that you just dominated from start to finish on both sides of the ball. That's a better win than Boise State has all season. The Sun Devils also took down number 18 BYU. So right off the bat, Arizona State has two better wins than Boise State has all season. You also look at the week prior to BYU, they went on the road to take down a then number 16 Kansas State, a game in which they dominated from start to finish on both sides of the ball as well. I know Kansas State isn't ranked anymore, but they did finish the season 8-4. And considering beating an 8-4 team is the Sun Devils' third best win, when you look at Boise State, that is a massive difference. When looking at the Broncos' schedule, they took down UNLV two separate times. Now, as of right now, UNLV is ranked number 20 by the College Football Playoff Committee. Are they going to be ranked number 20 tomorrow? I'm not quite certain, but that's the only great victory that Boise State has so far this season. Their second best win would come against Washington State, who did finish 8-4. But outside of Washington State, I'm having trouble finding what the next best win was for Boise State. I mean, they beat down a lot of crappy Mountain West teams. Now, I'm not saying that Arizona State didn't play an easy schedule. Their schedule definitely had a number of easy opponents, but they have much better wins on their resume. When looking at some other games on ASU's schedule, I know Kansas finished the season 5-7, but they finished the 2024 season as one of the best teams in all of college football. I mean, if you guys remember, they closed their season beating number 17 Iowa State, number 6 BYU, and number 16 Colorado. They also lost to number 16 Kansas State by only 2 points. So again, I know it's not saying a lot that a 5-win team is a quality victory, but it's a lot better than a lot of the teams on Boise State's schedule. Now, I don't think Arizona State is going to be able to jump Boise State in the rankings, mainly because they're 5 spots behind them. Entering this weekend, Boise State was ranked number 10, whereas Arizona State was ranked number 15. If Boise State was ranked number 10 with Arizona State at 11, then you could definitely make the case that Arizona State should move up 1 spot over Boise State and take them over. But to make the argument that Arizona State should jump up 5-6 spots, I just don't think that's going to happen. Now, granted, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Miami, and Alabama, they didn't play this weekend, so maybe Arizona State will be able to jump over them a bit, but it's tough to see them making that big of a leap. But now, if we're being honest with ourselves, Arizona State should have been ranked above all these teams to begin with. They easily should have been ranked over Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, and they probably should have been ranked above Miami as well. I mean, this is an Arizona State team that has won 6 consecutive games and 8 of their last 9 games. How are they ranked in number 15 when they have multiple top 25 victories and they're playing in the Big 12? I just don't understand how it makes any sense, and the playoff committee has been disrespecting Arizona State all season long. So after today's dominating performance against Iowa State, I do think the Sun Devils should be ranked above Boise State, and they should get that 4th and that final playoff seeding, assuming SMU takes care of business against Clemson. Like I said earlier, there is still a scenario where if Clemson beats SMU, Arizona State is probably going to get the 4th and final seed, and we're not going to have to worry about any of this. But in that scenario, I just can't see giving Boise State the edge over Arizona State when Arizona State just has a much better resume than Boise State does. I mean, seriously, we're going to give a team a first round bye in the college football playoff where their best win all season was against UNLV. I mean, just think about that for a second. You can get a first round bye in the college football playoff with your best win of the season being against a group of 5 team. Whereas Arizona State, they have a win over the number 16 team and a win over the number 18 team, both of which have come in the last couple of weeks. Now, I probably do have a little bit of Arizona State bias, considering I went there a couple years ago and graduated, but I think Arizona State is just the better team at this moment, and I think they have a more impressive resume than Boise State does at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see what the College Football Playoff Committee does tomorrow, assuming SMU wins, and it all comes down to that final bid. Like I said, if Clemson wins, Arizona State should get in, but if Clemson were to somehow leapfrog over Arizona State, yeah, we're going to have a crazy video for me tomorrow. Well, those are my thoughts on Arizona State, and that's going to wrap it up for today's video. What are your thoughts on Arizona State? Where do you think they should be ranked tomorrow? Do you think they've done enough to warrant a first round bye, or do you think Boise State has been a better team, they have a better resume, and they've done more to earn that first round bye? Whatever your thoughts are on this controversial controversial scenario that can go down tomorrow, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe it's just my Arizona State bias talking and I think we should be the #1 seed in all of college football, or maybe more people out there believe that Arizona State has done more and they've earned the spot compared to Boise State. If you guys haven't done so yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm going to be posting college football videos every day leading up to the college football playoff, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.